It's still very hard for you to talk about.
Yeah, it is.
An officer beaten by his own comrades, a life-changing moment. Tonight, for the very first time, St. Louis officer Luther Hall publicly speaks about the attack. It happened in the middle of protests nearly 5 years ago, and to Hall, the punishments handed out in his case are a total slap in the face. This is where our chief investigator Lauren Traeger is the only TV reporter to have this story tonight.
My outlook on law enforcement has definitely changed.
Born and raised in St. Louis, Luther Hall dedicated 22 years to protecting and serving.
I joined and I loved it.
You did love it.
Yeah.
But he chokes back tears as he remembers the day everything changed.
Is it something you think about every day?
Yeah, I do. For the longest, I had trouble just sort of driving past there.
It was September 2017. People were protesting the acquittal of another officer, Jason Stockley, who'd been accused of murder. Hall was assigned to work undercover. This is his video. In plain clothes, he walked among the crowd, documenting property damage, live streaming back to command staff at headquarters, or so he thought.
So it was a protection for us. If we got into a situation where it got a little squirrely, we could at least let the department know where we were at that time. But we found out that no one was monitoring our live streams at all.
In the video, you can see Hall walks and eventually runs alongside protesters until the video only partially captured what happened next. Uniformed officers in riot gear surrounded him, told him to get on the ground.
And as I started to go to the ground, someone picked me up and slammed me into the ground a couple of times, and then I just started feeling, you could feel like just people punching and kicking and striking me as I was laying on the ground.
They didn't know he was one of them. He says it was soon clear they just wanted to pummel protesters.
I could have been anybody, but being black definitely didn't help.
Hall was hurt badly, bleeding and in pain.
The hole was big enough that the medic for the highway patrol was actually able to put his pinky through the hole in my face.
But the department, he says, was more concerned with cover-up. He wasn't taken to a hospital, for example. An injury report written at the time said only, quote, as officers were making arrests, Officer Hall was knocked to the ground, striking the concrete.
Oh, they totally, completely lied. Completely lied.
The police, he says, tried shifting blame to him.
And again, just to make that very clear, you did not resist arrest.
No.
You complied with commands.
Correct.
Eventually, the FBI got involved, and 5 SLMPD officers were charged for their parts in the incident. Bailey Coletta pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. Randy Hayes pleaded guilty for the assault and was sentenced to more than 4 years in prison.
Coletta and Hayes at least were big enough to man up to it in the beginning and say, hey, you know, we'll plea. We were wrong for what happened.
But 3 others rolled the dice in front of nearly all white juries.
I don't have a lot of faith in federal juries, especially in this region, because of where they're picked from.
In the end, after 2 trials, Stephen Cordy was acquitted. Christopher Myers pleaded guilty to destroying Hall's phone that night, and Dustin Boone was found guilty of depriving Hall of his civil rights. Boone's text messages before and after the beating were admitted at trial. Many of them used the N-word, all adding, Hall says, to the betrayal.
And I guess I considered his family kind of like friends.
But Myers only got probation. Boone, a year in prison, and can serve even less.
The sentences that the judge gave out, I think, were just kind of a slap in the face. I don't think I don't understand his reasoning behind those sentences at all.
Evidence, Hall says, that the system is stacked against black people, even if they're police officers.
I went into this thinking that, yeah, well, there would be some sort of justice and these guys would, I don't want to say they would be made examples of, but that there would be, other officers would look at what happened and say, hey, look, maybe I need to change my behavior, or maybe I need to do things differently. But I don't think anything came out of it.
An internal affairs investigation is still ongoing, and Hall believes not all involved have been held accountable.
We still just have a lot of officers that have that racist mentality that are on the department, and so those officers will train other officers, and so that it just keeps going.
Hall has plates in his neck, this scar from the surgery. He's never regained all of the weight he lost when he was unable to eat. Sitting for this interview is painful. The impacts, he says, are with him forever.
I'm kind of done with St. Louis.
It's why, now with the last of the criminal proceedings over, he's planning to move. He was awarded $5 million in a civil suit against the city. His time protecting and serving in St. Louis, he says, is absolutely over.
I still want to work. I mean, I can't be a policeman, but you know, like I still want to work, and I still want to be a productive part of just not here.
Hall is still pursuing a civil lawsuit against the officers. It was a different administration back then, both police chief and mayor. And Hall says he is hopeful they are doing more now to weed out bad police officers. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.
We asked the department to comment on Hall's allegations. They would not go on camera and instead pointed us to a previous statement which says our department has fully cooperated with the federal investigation and has been assured that the FBI will fully cooperate with our internal investigation. They said that investigation is still ongoing and would not comment any further. Tonight.